Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.
In a world where everyone says hello,
they dare to say,
g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, g'day. Yes. Good day. Yeah.
G'day.
G'day. Yeah. G'day. Yeah.
Yes. G'day.
Yeah. Good day.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
good day.
G'day. Hey. Yeah. G'day. Yeah. G'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah. G'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
It's hot in Australia.
It is hot everywhere in Australia.
This
Not a
is-
single place that's not hot.
This is our daily, weekly podcast about the heat. Today, it's hot. Tomorrow, more heat.
Weekly prediction, hot. Just so hot.
I'm just over it. For those who are playing at home, and their home is not in the merry old land of Oz, it was 42-ish degrees on Celsius on Friday, which adds up to about 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe.
I think that's the conversion, yeah.
Yeah, the conversion. So it's hot, which means that Tim and I are emotionally, physically, and moisturally drained.
Mostly moisturally.
I walked outside on Friday, and I'm pretty sure I became a husk.
Yeah, I am a dry man.
Just parched.
Yeah.
No, this isn't about being hot and dry, although Tim and I are both hot and dry.
I'm not
No,
the
wait.
first. Yeah.
Dry.
Anyway,
Oh,
yeah.
No, but, now, Tim, if there's one word that I would use to describe Australia aside from hot, it would be open.
Sure.
Where at times, when people aren't trying to stop boats,
Mm-hmm.
a multicultural mixing pot
Yes.
made up of lovely many cultures in
Yep.
some kind of
Lovely many.
pot that's formed where they
Yeah.
mix.
An open pot.
Um,
A pan.
A
if you
pan
will.
even, yes.
Yeah.
The handle, no, that's
A
Texas.
pot where you've lost the lid. That's an open
Yeah,
pot.
there's no... So we're open. Again, let's not talk about the boats. And Tony Abbott. Tim, the Australian Open, man, the segues this week are much better than last week.
That's definitely a segue,
It's,
yes.
it's one. The Australian Open, Tim, is something that we kind of touched on in the Pavlova episode when I repeated tennis
Yeah.
multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Australian Open's tennis, and it's happening right now
It
in
is.
Melbourne.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's on. It was on all of last week. I believe it's still on this weekend, and maybe this week. I'm
Until
not really
the
sure.
28th of January.
Yes, so it's on for the rest of the week. It's a big event. Melbourne is buzzing.
A lot of tennis, a lot of Rod Laver Arena, a lot of M Court Arena. Won't say the full name.
Yep. Lots of places where they play tennis.
Yeah, at least two.
Tennis boys and girls together having a good time.
It brings in boring people from all around the country to watch a wonderfully exciting sport.
Yeah, no, it is a good time. Australian Open tennis tournament. They've probably picked that up from context, our dear listeners.
Hope so.
So do you know much about it, though?
Me? I have two responses for you. No, and definitely not.
Okay. One of those would have been suffice. We probably didn't need both of them, but we've wasted the people's time this much. Why not draw it out?
Wasted their time
a little
and their money.
longer. Well, let me tell you about the Australian Open.
Open Australia.
So it's held annually. That means once a year.
Oh, once a year. Yeah.
Over the last fortnight of January, and it hasn't always, but it does always now, pretty much, happen in Melbourne.
Yes.
Melbourne.
Where two handsome, hot and dry gentlemen live.
Yes. And I believe they've had some real trouble with the heat this week at the tennis,
Indeed.
actually. It's been in the newspaper constantly. So the tournament itself wasn't called Australian Open back in the beginning, but it was first held in 1905.
Good year.
And it's chronologically, in terms of tennis, the tennis year. Each year, you've got the Julian calendar, and you've got the tennis calendar.
Yeah, the tennis calendar is quite different.
Chronologically, on the tennis calendar, the Australian Open is the first of the four Grand Slam tennis events of the year. The others being the French Open, which is usually held in France.
Interesting.
Wimbledon, which is held in Wimble, which I think is a suburb of London.
It's close to where the Wombles live.
Yeah, the Wombles. They host it every year.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, they're famed for their hospitality, so it's a good one to go to.
Tennis commentary
and the US Open.
Right,
That's
all
in
of
the
them,
US.
All of them sound open, but Tim, I put this to you that if I wanted to join this competition, I have a feeling they'd turn me away.
I mean, technically you can try, I'm pretty sure, but you wouldn't get very far, I imagine.
But it's not like an open mic night. Like, I can't walk up and be like, I put my name down, so I'd like to play against Roger Federer, please.
Yeah, I'll play the Nadal, please.
Yeah, I'll play 10 of your Nadals.
So it's women's and men's singles.
A little bit of a
doubles,
single action.
A little bit of mixed doubles.
Hey, whoa.
Co-ed tennis.
Wait, are we still talking about tennis? Or?
And junior championships apparently as well as wheelchair, legends, and exhibition events.
I have never seen wheelchair tennis.
I've never seen it, but I'm very interested to watch that now, actually.
I saw wheelchair basketball at the Special Olympics, and holy shit, they go hard or they go home.
I imagine wheelchair tennis would be very difficult, so I'd be very excited to watch a match, actually.
I'm going to have to go watch this right after this because I'm wondering, surely it's not motorized, but that involves they'd have to have like a system where one arm could move both wheels?
Play it on the fake grass courts as well. I'm not sure how it works, but
anyway,
we definitely need to look into that. So prior to 1988, the tournament was played on grass courts.
Oh.
Just on the grass.
Yep, just
nothing
out in
fancy.
the backyard.
But since then, 2 types of hardcore surfaces have been used at Melbourne Park.
Oh, we don't want one type.
Green-coloured rebound ace.
Oh, beautiful.
These are the facts you've got to know. And then from 2007, they used blue plexi cushion.
Welcome to the 2007 Australian Open. Tim, if you look down the grass, is that plexi or is that ace? What would you say?
I'd say that's not grass. It's blue. I don't know if you've ever seen grass before, but grass is not blue.
I asked you if it was plexi.
The sky
or
is blue.
Not if it was grass. Is that the kind of shit they talk about in tennis commentary?
Oh, yeah. It's not quite as boring as cricket commentary, but it's not far behind. Australian Open typically has very high attendance. Very, very high attendance, rivaling and occasionally even exceeding the US Open.
Take that, America.
Yeah.
We're more open than you.
Take that. I have the exact numbers of the attendance for the last couple of years, and I will deliver those to you very soon.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got the numbers. The tournament holds the record for the highest attendance at a Grand Slam event ever. Don't know what the number is. They didn't tell me.
Oh.
But I know it got the record, so look it up. And it was the first Grand Slam tournament to feature indoor play during wet weather and extreme heat, with its 3 primary courts, the Rod Laver Arena, the Hisense Arena, and we'll call it the MC Arena because we are not going to be mentioning a particular person's name because they've taken an offensive stance on something that we think is wonderful, so they don't get to be acknowledged. And so they've got retractable roofs, which is really cool because it's the first time these sorts of events have had that, which you really need in Melbourne because if it's not boiling fucking hot, it's pouring rain.
It's boiling fucking rain.
Both of which are not conducive to a good tennis game.
No, not at all.
Now, it's managed by Tennis Australia. We all know them. We all know them.
We all know and love them.
They used to be known as the Lawn Tennis Association of Australia. That was when they played on grass on the lawn.
Yeah, well, on the lawn, just go out the back at Jimmy's house.
Once you take the lawn out of the equation with plexiglass, plexi cushion or whatever the hell they call it, you can't call yourself the Lawn Association anymore. So you got to just be Tennis Australia.
The Plexi Association.
Yeah, the Plexi Association. So the tournament first known as the Australasian Championships and then became the Australian Championships in 1927 and the Australian Open in 1969. Now, since 1905, the Australian Open has been staged in 5 Australian and 2 New Zealand cities.
How dare they? They're trying to take our Open.
This is why it used to be called the Australasian. So it's been held in Melbourne 55 times, Sydney 17, Adelaide 14, Brisbane 7, Perth 3, Christchurch once in 1906, and Hastings in 1912.
Is Hastings in New Zealand as well?
I have no idea. Maybe. How many times did we say it was in...
Hastings? Wasn't it?
2 cities in New Zealand. Yeah, so Hastings must be in New Zealand. Started in 1905. Tournament was not designated as a major championship until 1924.
Oh, those bastards.
Oh.
We played for 10, 15 years until they bloody recognised
Gee
us.
whiz, but here's the thing. Even though it was a major championship, prior to 1969, most people were playing at Wimbledon. And because Australia has such close ties to Britain, most of our Australian players will play over there. And they're trying to figure out who the Australian champions were from the Wimbledon tournament.
Right.
So not even Australian players were coming out to play
Ridiculous.
back then. So back up until 1969, there wasn't a huge amount of money on offer for people to win. I'll tell you how much is on offer this year.
Well, I wish you would.
I will. The grand total of the 2018, which is shared amongst everyone. But anyway, so not many people were coming out.
Ridiculous.
That sort of started to change, I believe, around 1971-ish. Between 1971 and 1982, people started to come more and more. But it's kind of from then onwards that people were like, yeah.
Australia can play tennis too.
Absolutely. Another reason that they weren't really interested in coming, and a reason they actually still get complaints from players like Federer and Nadal, and the Venus and
Serena
Williams, the Williams twins, all of these top players, is that it happens so quickly after Christmas and New Year. They don't like it because they don't believe they're at their top form. They think they would like it to be held in February, which it's at the end of January, so it's not far off. But yeah, they've actually petitioned quite a few times for them to move it back a little bit into February.
Let me put this to you, tennis players. If you are champions, you should, number one, always be in top shape, and number two, maybe don't have 10 wines at Christmas. I'm looking at you, Federer.
Have a little bit of bloody,
some self-control.
Restraint.
Have one less slice of turkey.
No, but the reason that they don't put it back to February, because they probably would, it doesn't really matter. They don't do it because school holidays here in Australia, and they don't think that they'll get the crowds if they move it into February, which they're probably right about.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about numbers.
I love numbers.
So, way back in 1987, when it first really settled in Melbourne, because up until this point it moved around, but in 1987 they committed to building, I think, Melbourne Park, which is where it's held now with the Rod Laver and et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And since then, that's kind of when it started to take off. So in 1987, they had 140,089 people attend.
Now,
to watch.
With conversion rates, that adds up to about $1 million in today's money.
Well, 2017, that's last year.
Yeah.
728,763 people attended in person.
In person.
In person.
That's a lot of people. And when you were saying that we had the highest number, I did a quick look at the history of numbers, and that is the highest number that we've had so far.
Yes.
So I think that may be the record-breaking number.
It's a big number.
Wonder how many it'll be this year.
Yeah. I don't have the numbers for this year because obviously it is still ongoing. What I can tell you about this year is I mentioned the prize pool. So it's a bit weird how it kind of structures from like Q1, which I'm not 100% sure what that means. I think it's like one of the... Basically, if you kind of are in it...
Yep.
And you get to like this stage where they start playing and people are watching you, if you're in the singles events, you basically take home money.
Okay.
So the whole prize pool is 55 million Australian dollars.
Shit, son.
And that is spread out. So like if you make it to the first round, I think you get $7,500. Second round, double that. Third round, double that. That's 30,000 we're up to now for those playing at home.
So what does the winner take home?
The winner of the singles takes home 4 million Australian dollars.
That's a lot of money for hitting a ball.
Men and the women. The runner-up gets $2 million. You make it to the semi-final, you're taking home $880,000.
I'd go just to lose at this rate.
Yeah, fuck. I get to the first thing, $7,500. I'm like, that's fine.
That'll pay off my car loan. See ya.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Train all year, become the best tennis player, and just want to get $7,500.
If you win the doubles, I'm assuming this goes to each player. They get $700,000. So doubles is not so much, and mixed doubles, people aren't that fond of it. So you only get $150,500.
Yeah, you only get, a wage of a very hard-working person. Yeah, that's fine.
It's not much, though, is it? So that's how much money's on offer at the Australian
That is
Open.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, not an amount to sneeze at. Don't sneeze on it.
Well, I wouldn't sneeze on it if someone put money in front of me.
Brings the value of it down, yeah. So that's kind of that, isn't it? So that's that. That's the Australian Open.
I was going to say, does that mean you're done with the Australian Open?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a huge amount of facts except that they've changed their name and it's moved around a bit.
They have. There's a lot to there's a lot of things that go with it. So, like my friend Sue, I believe, is down here at the moment, and she did a cruise where they cruised down from Sydney to Melbourne.
For the tennis.
It's like a tennis-specific cruise.
Tennis cruise. Imagine how many tennis balls get hit off the boat.
Yeah, they're losing balls constantly.
It's pollution.
But they dock in Docklands, I believe, and they or somewhere like that, and they get like a shuttle service that just takes them from the boat to the tennis. But Sue was telling me that when you get to like the finals or whatever it is, sometimes those games go until like 4 a.m. or that.
Yeah, they go really late.
They're thinking, the bus isn't going to be here or that. But so the rule is the bus driver will be there half an hour after the last game finishes or something.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's 4 a.m., there's a bus waiting for you to take you back to your ship.
Nice.
So if anyone's interested in going on a tennis cruise, we're sponsored this week by
Because the only way to get home, I imagine they probably have extra train services in Melbourne, but I know the buses don't run at that time.
Well, yes.
The trams do, though. So you'd have to get a tram.
Ridiculous. I don't think I've been into the city since it's been on, and I don't plan on going.
I work in the city, and I can tell you from the week before, you could see tourists walking around trying to find their way on maps, and all I could think was, do you not have a phone?
Where are the tennis?
Why do you have maps? What's happening here?
Yeah, surely there's an app for it.
It's called Google Maps.
No, but I mean, like, there's probably an Australian Open app.
Yeah. There's probably a tennis app.
Tim, from the year 1982 to 1985, the tournament was played in mid-December. So Serena and Rod and not all those people. Who was it? Roger Federer. All those people. They'd probably be even more pissed.
Yeah.
It was played in mid-December. Then it was decided to move the next tournament to mid-January of 1987, which meant that in the year 1986... there was no tournament.
Oh, interesting.
So Melbourne had no one turn up that year.
Oh.
Now, aside from that, the other interesting facts that I found, according to the internets, is that Ken Rosewall, possibly Roswell, but it's Rosewall,
I think that's Rosewell, yeah.
is the youngest winner to win the championship at the ripe old age of 18.
Ah, well done, Ken.
M. Court, as we are referring to her, unfortunately, is the leading winner of most female titles of Australian Open.
She's also the leading winner at being the most bigoted. We're not going to go into it.
Yeah, if anyone's wondering, like, we don't hate her because she's a female tennis player. We hate her because she's really, really bigoted and rude.
She actively campaigned against the
yes
same-sex marriage, and she was very vocal about her opinions. And
if you don't know who we're talking about, her name is Margaret Court.
Yes,
go Google it.
Not a fan.
Rafael Nadal won the longest ever tennis match in 2009 against Fernando Verdasco.
Are you a Federer man or a Nadal man?
Look, I am Wii Sports Tennis, so I am my me. I'm a me fan.
Because there's kind of the split. There's Federer, and then there's Nadal,
and then there's
Federer
Nick
wins from what and then there's Kyrgios, who's insane. But my understanding is Federer wins more often, but Nadal is also very good and wins a lot.
Right.
And when they verse each other, I've watched quite a few of their games on TV because it's actually quite exciting to watch the two of them
play. Are you a tennis watcher?
I watch tennis from time to time. Yeah.
You think
if
you
it's
know
an exciting
someone?
Game. If it's Federer versus Nadal, I'll absolutely watch it because they're both very, very good.
You live with someone for 3 or 4 years, you think you know them, and then you find out they watch tennis.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. But like I was saying, I'm a Nadal man myself.
Oh, I wouldn't have known.
Face like a hat full of assholes. But no, I'm definitely a Nadal man myself.
Oh, a hat full of assholes. Sorry for the auditory burst of my laughter. I literally, if you like tennis, I'm more of a cricket. When I want a slow sport, I'm more of a cricket man.
Tennis is kind of slow because it takes a long time to get through the game, but it's good. It's exciting.
No understanding of the rules at all.
And it takes a lot of endurance. Not like cricket. I don't think there's that much endurance involved. Tennis players have to be like crazy fit.
I think a lot of cricket players are going to be upset about that because they have to wear a lot of stuff and run a lot, and they have to
come
be
at
out
me.
in the sun all day.
If they're as unfit as I say they are, they're not going to be able to catch me anyway.
Right.
So we're all
actually.
good.
Side note: watched a bit of the Big Bash. Those games are ridiculous because, like, in a good way. I watched two bowls, and I watched 2 people get out because they just hit a 6 each time and they got caught. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
fast
You mean like
turnover.
the 2020?
Yeah.
Big Bash?
It was
Yeah.
the women's Big Bash, which, another side note, people, we need to go to the women's Big Bashes because they were at the MCG and I counted...
cricket altogether, I think.
Yeah, we should be going to any kind of women's sport. We should be going to all sport and supporting everyone equally. But there was I counted probably 5 people at the MCG. The MCG is very large.
It's a large
and the camera's
place.
panning around. I'm like, look, I can tell you the names of those people by the end of the game. Anyway, away from that side note and back to the tennis. Speaking of the heat, though, these people I've read some, like, sometimes the court can be like 45 degrees.
Yeah.
Like they're in the middle of the
There's
sun.
been like 2 or 3 times just this week where players have, I think, maybe given up or like they've been on the verge of giving up because it gets intensely hot. Can you imagine that plastic grass that they're playing on as well?
And running back and forth.
It would be
and you're only
awful.
just wearing your skirt or your dick shorts. You know, the
Your
shorts are
dicks
short.
all up in the wind.
They're short shorts.
And they weren't closing even though it was so hot, they weren't closing the things either, which is why the players were like, what the fuck are you doing? It's so
can you
hot.
please
Close the
close
roof.
that? Martina Higgins is the youngest woman to win the game at the age of 16.
Yeah, there's a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old this year.
Playing this year.
Apparently
Jeez.
she's playing really well.
That's
yeah.
hectic. On that side note, I have no idea how long that Nadal and Fernando game went for. Let's assume 8 hours.
Million hours.
40,000 tennis balls are used every year in the tournament.
40,000.
40,000, Tim.
There's not that many games.
There's not that many tennis balls in the world.
Yeah.
You times that by... It's been going since 1905, so it's been going for like 120-ish years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good maths. Yep.
120 times 40,000. That's a lot of balls.
Many balls.
Not to count the ones on the men tennis players. And the last fact that I found is that typically there are more than 300 ball boys and girls in attendance each year.
Yeah, you see them. They're cute, aren't they?
They're the unsung heroes of the tennis, really. Fuck the players.
If they weren't there, these players would be playing on a court full of balls.
Let's talk about, briefly, ball boys and girls in all sports. Number 1.
Okay.
It's a great job they do. They do
Are
a
they in
wonderful
other
job.
sports? I don't
yeah,
know.
you have ball boys in football and stuff like that. Like not soccer. Like I don't know if they have in soccer, but like AFL and stuff. You see ball boys running around. They just catch the ball and do this kind of stuff. Here's the thing: players are lazy.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, they're focused on the game.
They're focused on the game, but you should be able to go get the ball yourself.
Yeah.
Like just go get the ball. You hit it. You kicked it. You threw it.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
You kick it on the road. Go get it.
Yeah. No, you kicked it on the roof. You got to go get it.
No, go knock on the door.
That's my thought. I don't want to take jobs away from ball boys and girls, but I also don't want to see lazy sports players.
When you watch the tennis, if you've ever watched before,
Never.
I'm always like, what the fuck are they doing? They bounce the ball to the players, and they'll always have a couple. They'll chuck a couple in their pocket, and whatever. The players, they always look at it.
Yeah.
Apparently they're checking for fluff or something, but like it's like when swimmers like shave their chest. Like,
yes,
how much of a difference is it making? I would really like to know how much does the fluff on a ball make a difference when you're hitting that ball at somebody at like 150 kilometers
mate, this
an hour.
is, you've got the fluff on the ball. You've got, if the wind changes by a kilometer, that changes everything. If you've got a bit of a dent, if there's moisture on the ground, it impacts a lot.
Sounds like a lot of nonsense to me.
It probably is.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot of just psychological stuff.
Probably.
Speaking of tennis ball boys, though, did you ever read like the Anthony Horowitz series, like Skeleton Key and stuff like that? Like the Alex Ryder series, I think that was?
No.
Oh, anyway, in Skeleton Key, he plays a ball boy at Wimbledon.
Ah,
They do strawberries and cream there.
cool.
Just so you all know.
I'm glad you told us this.
Tim, I think that's good knowledge on the Australian Open. I feel more educated. I can't wait to go and watch some wheelchair tennis.
Yeah. If you can't be here in Melbourne to watch it, chuck on the TV. Have a geeze at it. Because it gets exciting.
Have a gander.
Yeah.
Pick your match, though.
Yeah. Watch it later when it gets to like the semi-finals. The first stuff I'm sure is exciting for tennis people, but I'm not a huge tennis people. So later this week when it gets to the semi-finals and stuff, I'll be into it.
I think this week is the week because Suze Cruz is here this week. I think she's here for the next couple of days. So I think that would mean that this is the good week to be here.
Yeah.
Tim, take me away from tennis. You got a dad advice for me?
I do have a dad advice. Oh, we got an electronic letter.
Oh, wonderful. If only there was a word for it.
Like an email.
Well, no.
Wait. Yep, there it is.
Non-gender specific.
Yeah, e-person.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Dear Tim and Leon,
Yep.
the cost of electricity is a bloody disgrace.
Oh, don't even.
We're opening it up hard. We're
Yeah.
going in strong.
This is a good one.
Every bill we get seems to be getting higher and higher, and me and the husband don't know what to do. Especially right now when it's so hot and we can't afford to run the bloody air conditioner.
Well,
This is a passionate letter.
yeah.
This is a passionate...
There's a lot
Australians are a
behind it.
hot-blooded, passionate people.
Well, we're very hot.
Similar to the Spanish and the French, we're a romantic people. We're passionate.
Similar to lizards
Yeah, it's very
when they're
similar to
out in the
us.
sun.
What do you boys do to stay cool in the summer? Got any tips to keeping us from baking alive while keeping the electricity bill down? Thanks. Have a good one, boys. Charlene from Brisbane. Charlene, I think it's a bit hotter up where you are, but it does
Yeah.
get hot in Melbourne.
Oh, it gets cold as well.
Yeah, it rains.
Charlene, I'm going to call you Shazza. I'm going to call you Shazza because that's obviously that's what your friends call you.
Yeah.
Charlene, I have been running the air conditioner and the fan myself lately, and I'll tell you what, when this electricity bill comes, I will be going into debt.
I have already looked at our predicted bill. It is not small.
Oh, I didn't even know that you'd done that. We'll have to talk about that after the show, and we'll have to cancel the podcast.
It's not too bad, but
Please
it is
donate
not
to our
great.
Patreon so we can pay our electricity bill. No, so things you can do. Number one, don't open the windows. Now, hear me out. If you open the windows and it's hot outside, the hot air gets in. Sometimes it's best to just leave the cool air in. You got high ceilings in your house? Maybe. You're probably up high if you're in, where is she? Brisbane? You might be up high to get away from the flood waters and stuff like that. You get a bit
Brisbane,
of wind in.
if you go north, you go vertically up
you
also.
go up. Yeah,
so
yeah,
you're
so-
high. You're up higher than us.
That's
probably
the thing. They don't
Yeah.
talk to me like I'm like, but no, they might get some nice breeze, bit of a sea breeze if you're close enough to the water. But keep the windows closed. Buy a hand fan. Buy a hand fan.
like a Chinese hand fan.
Yeah, or any kind of nationality hand fan. Spanish, Japanese. who
Like
knows? like a hand fan, a manual fan, Tim. They used to exist.
yep.
Buy a battery. Buy those ones that people have got at the moment. They're the battery powered fans, and they have the water bottle in it as well. So you squirt yourself as it fans you.
I used to love those as a kid.
That's cheap. Otherwise, just go for a swim.
You're a wise man.
What do you got, Tim? What would you offer?
Oh, look. I'd add an addendum to your don't open the windows. I'd add two actually. Keep the I believe they're called curtains closed.
Yes.
Stops the sun coming through
Yes.
that window because otherwise you're going to turn your house into a greenhouse.
Yeah, you got to get your black.
My house was always a greenhouse. Hey.
Yeah.
The other one is if there is a breeze outside, sometimes it's nice to open the window. Only under those circumstances,
Yes.
though, because you're going to get a good crosswind.
Oh yeah, but yeah, if you're going to open one, you got to open a window
Yeah.
on either side. Like you open both front doors, have the wire door closed. You know,
Exactly.
it flies in.
Exactly,
And,
yeah. No. My other one is, obviously, it's a little bit late to do this. We're in the middle of summer. But in the winter time, what you can do is you can actually put some buckets outside and just collect some of the cold and
Yep.
store that. Just
Yeah.
put it
you
in
freeze it?
underground. You can freeze it. Everyone has their own way of doing it.
Yep.
I am more of a... We used to have these barrels at home.
Right.
Similar to the barrels they used to transport meat and
Yes.
salt and stuff in
Yeah.
on these ships. And you just pour the cold in there
Oh yeah.
because they're quite tight.
Yeah,
You got to make sure they're tight. Just pour the cold in there and just keep it there. Then you got a little bit of cold that you can just kind of have it access. You know.
Yeah, you just-
That's what I would do.
Stick your head in the freezer.
Yeah.
It's always a good one. Not
Yeah.
too long. Make sure you got plenty of ice to drink with
Yeah, and to take.
and to.
If you're high off your nut, you're probably not going to notice how hot it is. Although it probably will make you hotter. Don't do that.
I was going to say, you ever wondered why G'day got cancelled?
Yeah.
Tim recommended ice.
I do recommend drugs a lot.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I don't know. Moral of the story: take a cold shower.
Yeah.
That's one.
No, but don't do it too often because you're going to get your water bill up.
Well, yeah, but not as bad as the hot water bill. You know?
Problem is the bills, isn't it?
Oh,
It's all bills.
If we didn't have bills, we'd all
It's
be
all bills,
running
Charlene.
aircon 24/7.
Yeah.
Charlene, it's hot and it's going to stay hot because we still live in Australia. Global warming. It's getting hotter.
Climate change.
The climate is changing. Thank you, Shazza Charlene, for sending me your
yeah. Cheers,
letter.
Charlene. Your passionate letters really inspired me to go for a sleep after this.
I was going to say, it really inspired me to stay out of the sun today.
Yeah.
Tim, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if our listeners know this. They may know this, depending on how they're listening to this. We're on Spotify.
Whoa.
You heard me correctly. We finally made it. Not only are we on Apple Podcasts, Auscast's channel on Audio Boom and all other podcatchers, but now we're in the place where you get all your favourite tunes from.
Yeah, you can listen if you got the right kind of phone deal like I do.
Yes.
You can listen to us without using your data.
Yeah. I don't have that deal, so I'm using my data to listen to us.
Listen to us on Spotify.
But yeah, so if you got, I think, to me, depending on where your other podcasts live, having Spotify makes it even easier because it's all in one place. You just use it. Unless you're like me and you download them onto your computer, put them on your iPod, put them in the car, because I'm just stuck in my ways.
Yeah, no.
We're on Spotify.
Do you press them onto vinyl and then put them...
Yeah, you got to put them on vinyl.
Yeah, and then play them off the record player that you keep in your car.
I usually put it in the CD player. It doesn't work.
Can you hear the record player over your feet driving the car? I love
Flintstones
Flintstones.
car.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Thank you. But the aircon, body loud. Yeah, so we're on Spotify, which is great. So there's no excuse to not listen anymore. Shove it in your friends' ear holes.
Yeah, force them to listen.
They are. Tim, I think it's time that we confirm that we're soon to record audio commentary for Patreon. And we're definitely going to do it on Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
That's locked in.
Locking it in now to get people excited.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wanted to get you excited about Patreon, number one, we have it and it's great. It's going great guns. It's amazing. Number two is that you don't... I don't think you get access until the payment comes out of your card, which happens at the beginning of every month. Now, we're at the end of the month. If you put your Patreon bids in now, you get all the access.
Yeah. Straight
February
up.
is going to be... You're going to be drowning in knee-deep in Yeager
Yeah.
because you can drown in knee-deep water.
Make sure you've got a floating device on.
Make sure you got a float. But no, I highly recommend that in the next week and a bit, if you're going to donate to Patreon, you do it now because you're going to get access to everything. www.patreon.com/Yeager.
That's it.
Tim, I want to say thank you to Teylor Smirl, T-Smell, Smelly T, who is another year older after last week, for her wonderful cover art for making us look so good. Thank you, Taylor Moon.
I'd also like to say thank you to Curtis Fernance, Fern Tree Music. Also another week older, so good on him. Didn't have a birthday. It's just how life works. It's been 1 week, so he's 1 week older. No, get onto it. Look at his stuff. Gives us the introduction, outroduction, other various musical things. Yeah, that's my thank you.
Wonderful. Check out our Facebook group, Yeah G'day Fans. Watch our YouTube videos, Yeah G'day Food, Patreon, Spotify. Good stuff.
Other things that
on
we do.
the horizon, I believe it's pronounced.
Yes.
We're also proudly part of the Auscast Network, which is home to a bunch of great shows getting better and better every day. Hong Kong Confidential recently made it into the new and noteworthy of iTunes, which is amazing. And Apple Slice Podcast, check out those guys. They're doing some interesting stuff, talking about Apple from the Australian point of view, because we're kind of left out down the bottom here.
We are indeed.
Great. Oh.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Oh.
No, it's fine.
But what?
No, I was gonna make another recommendation, but I didn't. I was going to recommend AB Film Review with Andrew Vogt, SPS Bit, and he's been on ABC lately doing film reviews, and him and Bernadette, his wife, but that's fine.
Well, now you've done it.
No, I won't do it. It's fine.
No, it's done now, isn't it?
Tim, let's call it quits. It's going to be hot, and we're going to get hotter. Follow us on our social media. Yeah, g'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone. Catch you on the flippity flop.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.